nasty there, Mr. Rob. That's the first jam Rob and I have had in 18 months or something like that.
What have we got here, Mr. Lee?
Well, do not adjust your television sets. These are not incredibly far away from the camera.
No.
They are just incredibly small guitar amplifiers.
Look, here is a normal-sized hand. Here
absolutely.
is a very small amp.
The newest one is the Diezel. Diezel Micro, I think it's called. Micro, Mini, not sure. It is from the same family of people that make the Friedman amps and the Bogner amps and the Tone King amps and all that kind of stuff. Company in America called Boutique Amps. Dave Friedman, you know, master amp builder, came up with this concept of the sort of the mini Friedman. It's been so popular, they thought they'd try and sort of replicate the vibe with the Diezel, and then there's a Bogner coming later this year as well, Bogner Ecstasy, which is kind of cool. Because these are super affordable, very small, solid state kind of mini heads, basically. And then just to see kind of how they stack up, we thought we'd wheel out one of the OGs of the micro amp world, the Micro Dark. Again, one of the more popular sort of teeny-weeny amplifiers of the last year or two, the Hughes Kettner Spirit of Rock from their Nano series. That opening jam, you heard Rob play the Friedman, you heard me play the Micro Dark for absolutely no reason other than they were nearest.
In all fairness, we are using some expensive gear around these.
Yes,
for fun.
I think, well, Rob certainly is. Rob is basically, Rob is using a guitar that's probably 10 times the price of the amplifier. He's using a reverb pedal that is twice the price of the amplifier, and a cabinet that is 3 times the price of the amp as well.
This is Lee's new telly, and I'm absolutely in love with it. I feel like Pete and Lee both have really cool tellies now, and I don't, so I need to join the Fender telly.
Entirely why I bought that was because I just felt some sort of FOMO over Pete's purple telly. I just felt like I needed to.
It's so beautiful, Lee. It's
basically the same as Pete's telly in terms of the neck and the pickups on it. It's just on a double-bound thin line body.
It's very nice, and it's the first time I've ever played a real clon. I do feel a little bit like my first experience with a real clon probably shouldn't be through a tiny affordable amplifier, but whatever, you know.
By the power of magically clicking my fingers, we are going to now get a more affordable guitar, sorry Rob, use a more affordable overdrive pedal and plug all these amps into the same cab so that you hear everything with the same guitar, same cab, same reverb pedal, and then we will just use a good old-fashioned Ibanez Tube Screamer to boost the front end if we need to on these. So, here we go, power of changing right now.
Oh wow.
Right, so we're back in the room now with the Squire version of the guitar that Rob started the jam on, which I think there might still be 1 or 2 left at Andertons of those. Plugged into a Tube Screamer, a tuner, and into the Friedman. We're still using some reverb. We've got a Strymon reverb through the effects loop, so there's no reverb built into any of these amplifiers. You have to use a pedal, but they all have, except for this one, effects loops. And then we're plugged into the 212 here, and we're going to use the same cab all the way through. Now, if you're not familiar with Friedman and Dave Friedman, he became famous for doing sort of amp mods for guitar stars out in California, and then started his own amp brand, Friedman, and they're very much in the vein of, or they were at least in the early days, of those hot-rodded, high-gain Marshall kind of vibed amplifiers. This, his most famous amplifier, arguably his most famous amplifier, is the BE. If you're easily offended, turn your volume down now, because BE stands for brown eye, and we all know what that is. So, and then there was a modded version of it called the hairy brown eye. Okay, you can turn your volume back up now.
Is that what Felix uses?
This is the mini BE, right? And it's basically a little box of monstrous gain. There's not much clean tone out of this unless you're comfortable turning.
I did try and find it, and
so,
you know, here. You can hear it wants to be gainy.
It's a rock amplifier. So if you look across the controls here, volume, bass, middle, treble, presence, and gain. And then the 2 little switches are a 3-position gain cut control. We have it on its minimum gain setting at the moment. And a tightness control that, again, is just going to affect the bass end. And I suspect For smaller, if you're using it with a small cabinet, you'll want as much bass end as possible, and if you're using it with a big cabinet, you'll potentially want to cut some of that bass end out. So, Monsieur Rob, with everything roughly-ish at midday, let's just put the gain at midday.
Should we start
have a little?
Start on the neck pickup.
Yeah.
And then with the tube screamer. Well, I'm using the screamer as a boost. There's hardly any gain in it. It's just lots of volley.
I must admit, if I wasn't aware, because I'd read the manual, that this little bad boy didn't have any valves in it, I would be pretty convinced that it did have a valve in it. Because it's got a very authentic valve-driven tone, I think.
And it has a little wooden chassis, which you associate visually with valves.
I know when I first saw these in adverts, Friedman very cleverly didn't put anything else in the picture to give you a sense of how big it was. So although I knew it was going to be a small head, I think I thought it would be small like the sort of that kind of small. I didn't realise it was going to literally be half that size again. So yeah, it's all solid state. They all run off of these kind of DC style power supplies, which I think
it's a real
universally shame. Everyone hates,
yeah.
Right? But I guess it is what it is because it's just got a tiny little Class D. I think they're 30 watts. We'll definitely do, what does Rob think in terms of, is it loud enough to gig with something like this? Could this be your backup amplifier? Could it be your number one amplifier? Or is it very much just a bit of fun, because it visually looks cool and sounds cool? There's no headphone socket or anything like that on the Friedman one. It just has a speaker output and an effects send and return on the back.
Yeah, we should see how loud it is, because we're just over half.
Play with some more gain. I mean, if you want to dial more gain
yeah,
in.
I'm just going to... Bit of Friedman. Good.
I think it sounds good.
Sounds nice.
I think it sounds good. It's an entirely subjective test here, but let's see how loud does it go, Mr. Rob?
Could I just suggest,
of course you
because
may.
I can't do it while I'm playing, and they might want to hear the tight being affected while I do that kind of thing.
I will do that.
Can you untighten and then tighten me?
All the way up?
Yeah.
Middle position? Should we,
It brightens it a little bit, doesn't it? Sorry, yeah.
You want to do maximum ganache.
All right. I've got my tube screamer on as well.
Turn that off then. Okay, maximum ganache just from the head. I think here's the gain cut control. I'll take you through that as well. Now, we have our decibel meter, I can't even say it. We have our decibel meter in the background, which is not correctly placed for you to take anything from it other than its relative noise volume. Now, I would typically say that when it reaches somewhere around about the 101 mark, in previous videos that I've done with Pete, that's when I think it starts to get loud enough to gig with. Everything else, I feel you'd probably want to mic it up.
Do you want to crank it and see what it feels like?
So yeah, let's see where this gets to. Here we go.
Ready?
It's a 30 watt solid state amplifier
so it's a 15 watt.
A 16 ohm cab, which in fairness to Friedman, again, because we're not using an 8 ohm cab, it would go a little bit louder if it was an 8 ohm cab.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I have something else to add. When it got really loud, it didn't sound as good.
It lost definition, didn't it?
It did. It lost the character they were trying to like a digital amp or even an analog amp is trying to replicate the sound of a valve amp or just the sound that someone imagines. And I felt when it passed when it got past there, it kind of lost its character that it was trying to give off. It sounded great at about 2 o'clock.
Are we being overly critical of an amplifier that costs about the same as a good distortion pedal?
No, I think we're just doing a really good job.
Right. Okay, now we're going to jump over
that is a valid point, though.
The Diezel. Yes, if we've not mentioned this already, this one and this one are £249. So we're not, it's like a tenth of the price of most of the rest of the Friedman
To some
catalog.
people, that's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was just saying to Lee, what would look really super awesome cool is 2 of these on 2 1x12s and a stereo rig.
And that does double the volume as well.
It does.
So you potentially are moving into the realms of something that might be loud enough to gig with. So Diezel, if you're not familiar, Peter Diezel and Peter Steffler, I think his name was Stifler, wasn't he, in a film? Anyway,
his mum's famous.
It's obviously associated with perhaps a more modern metal tone than a Friedman Marshally kind of vibe. I've not actually tried this yet, so I'm kind of interested to see what it sounds like. We'll just go with the 12 o'clock test, which means we've just missed it. It's 12:05, Rob. So.
Oh, damn!
Damn it!
To the pub.
So we have here Master, Deep, Presence, Bass, Middle, Treble, and Gain. Master Deep from Harry Potter and the.
Master Deep wants to.
We have, as I said, same reverb, same cab, same guitar, same guitar player.
Right,
what does it sound like?
I'll play some of the same stuff too.
Okay.
Because that we.
He wants to
So let's try that again without dobbing.
There's less verb. Have you noticed? It's less of an effect in the effects loop.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that's to do with the fact that if I put more gain in with.
No.
No. Interesting. And kind of feeling like Kind of feeling... Interesting. Kind of feeling like 12 o'clock is not the settings that this amplifier wants to be on. Let's have a little listen.
Let's give it a tune. Quality to it, man. It's like it's not quite there. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I'm glad that very first sound that we got was because you had the volume on the guitar down. Because I was thinking, oh my goodness me, this sounds terrible.
No.
But actually, I mean, it sounds okay, but I kind of feel we need to find...
It's not quite pushing the speaker enough.
Maybe, that might be it. So let's see if we can find something...
More volley.
Yeah.
And a little bit less bright, but that is 110 million. Can I just tweak the brightness?
You can do whatever you like.
It's just a little bit too much of that.
What we do have in here, if Pete's okay with us playing it, is a 7-string with an Evertune bridge and some Fishman pickups on it. Is that...
Lordy, that's my comfort zone.
Okay.
Chappers can play Dobby's 7-string.
So, we have a more modern guitar with an extra string. The devil's string, some people say.
Straight into my comfort zone.
Absolutely. So here we go. Again, you can see what the settings are. We've got a little bit of extra gain, a little bit of extra master, everything else pretty flat-ish. Rolled a little bit of the bass and the deep off because that's what Adele said was a good thing to do.
Adele?
Yeah. Rolling off the deep. Come on, man. Keep up. So here we go. Let's have a little listen.
That was good. You really got me with that. I absolutely wasn't expecting the Adele gag. Oh my God.
The Kraken potato masher fell off.
The squid has saved me from bad playing.
Please step on your tuner pedal. Do you know what? With that purple shreddy guitar and this Diezel amplifier, you look like a substantially uglier and hairier version of that Sophie YouTube guitar player who plays a purple guitar and a Diezel amplifier on YouTube a lot. Is it Sophie guitar? Sophie something. Not Sophie Burrell.
A different Sophie. I was going to say, I met Sophie Burrell.
No, not her. You'll know. YouTube people will know there is a Sophie that plays a purple guitar and a Diesel amplifier on YouTube. And anyway,
I look like Sophie?
Not really.
Well, I am.
She'll be pleased to hear. Anyway, let's see how loud this goes.
Okay, you ready?
In our decibel testeroo. About the same, marginally maybe slightly louder than the.
It's probably the Fishmans and the really thick metallic strings.
So all the same.
Can I just apologise for all of my playing?
All of it, absolutely. Apologise now on behalf of the nation. I apologise. So there we go. So that's the Diezel. You got a preference so far? They're the two new ones. What are you laughing at?
Can you read that number plate as if it's a word?
Sheet. You know what? As well, it's even funnier. It's Monkey from Korn, so it's Monkey Sheet.
Oh, he's good.
He is good.
He's much better than me.
Right.
So I'm on Team Friedman. It's a bit like Twilight now.
Yeah, no. I think most guitar players who grew up with all of those kind of hot-rodded Marshall sounds as their favourite guitar players would be
I grew up loving all that kind of stuff too, but I'm in Camp Friedman for both those kinds of sounds.
Camp Friedman? Yeah. That's where the president goes, isn't it, during the event of a nuclear attack? So we're into the orange Micro Dark now. Some of you might be more familiar with the regular Micro Terror, which is the white version of this with a bit less gain. I kind of chose the Micro Dark because I felt it was we were all doing gainy amplifiers. Mega popular, about £100 cheaper. Slightly different vibe. So the power amp, still a Class D power amplifier, but it's only 20 watts now, but it does have a tube, or a valve if you live in the UK, in the preamp section. It has less knobs, but it also has a headphone socket, which these don't have. And it has a effects loop, so you're hearing again the same reverb through it, and we'll do all the same things here. I suspect Rob and I, in fact, I remember Rob and I doing videos of these back like 7 years ago or something, which will probably be awful videos, but a good laugh. And I don't think I can link to it because it's probably on Rob's channel.
I wonder how different we looked then. You looked exactly the same.
I had enormous sideburns that looked ridiculous, and you probably had dreadlocks.
I probably definitely did.
Looked ridiculous as well.
Hey man.
So, anyway.
My wife uses this amp for a keyboard.
Does she?
She plugs it in the front and takes it out the
very
send.
Talented one. Oh, I see.
Yeah, just
not
bypassing.
Literally as a keyboard. But for it, I see what you mean.
She plugs the keyboard in the front and takes it out the back into a speaker.
Good for her. Okay, right, let's do the 12 o'clock test. We've just got volume gain, and in the middle it says shape, aka tone.
I'm ready.
Good.
Is it warmed up?
Oh yes, it's got a valve in it.
Yeah.
Ye old-fashioned technology.
Tell me when you can smell it ready.
Is that volume all the way up on the guitar?
Yeah.
So it's got a clean. Sorry, So that was volume all the way up on the guitar. Is what I was just asking Rob. So it's got a clean tone.
Yeah.
For which
and character.
At reasonable volume. Oh, Rob's sticking the boot in now. I just want to say
really.
This is why we employ Rob, because obviously I try and stay slightly more Switzerland in these kind of reviews.
I just
Rob
like to
can be full. It really doesn't matter.
Although
can't say that obviously.
I'm always honest about what it just has a character to it.
An orange character. You like orange amps, don't you?
I like valve amps.
Well, there is that. Okay, go on, keep going. I don't know how. Is that towards me or away from?
Sorry. Let me. Character.
Yeah.
That's half volume.
Yes. I mean, and it's already sounding louder. I think because we don't have all that saturation and compression of the gain, we've got more openness.
Yes,
so,
body.
Okay, so if we turn the pedal off.
It is off. It is off.
Okay, and maximum gain just from the amp, because I don't think there's quite as much gain in here as there is in these two, but there's still.
Okay,
we'll
ready?
See. Yeah. Sorry, Rob, I know you were literally blistering away there, but I think we have certainly demonstrated it's louder.
It's
quite
very
a
loud,
lot louder, actually. It was, good 3 or 4 dB louder. I think it loses. As soon as everything is on full, it sounds like an amp that's going, I don't really like it here anymore.
So less comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah, but at 3/4, it sounds great.
Yeah,
it sounds
really good.
really, really, really good.
Matching it with the right gain pedal.
I'll try it with the LTD, just because it's there.
Right.
I mean, it's £100 less as well. The white one, the Micro Terra, is almost £150 less. Good value. Good value.
I'm so glad I don't have to tune this guitar.
Right, let's see what we get. So let's go with that sort of 2/3, 3/4 of the way up with everything.
It's just so dark. There's just
it's very dark. It's called a dark terror. Maybe that's why. I think there's something about the Friedman still for that high gain sound that's doing it for me. But
could we try that with the Tube Screamer?
Of course you can. You can do whatever you like.
Yeah. Let me just use a little bit of this tonnage and a little bit not of that, and then. That's a lot better.
Now, of course, you could in fact buy an Ibanez Mini Tube Screamer plus one of these for same kind of dough as one of these.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's a lot better with the screamer on. Well, and I'm just using the boost and the treble. It's a treble boost, basically.
Very good. Okay, lastly then comes the Hughes Kettner Spirit of Rock. It's actually the smallest one of the three. Oh, and doesn't have an effects loop.
Oh no!
So we now we're gonna have to play dry, which is a terrible problem. Okay, so the Hughes Kettner Spirit of Rock is from a series called the Nano series. There is a tube in these, but it's not the conventional kind of 12AX7 that you see in there. It's one of those really little ditty nano tubes that you see periodically used in pedals, and a lot of the Hughes Kettner and Thomas Blue kind of designs use these little nano tubes. Then we have a master volume sagging. Is that like teabagging, or is that something different? Sagging, tone, gain, and headphone socket, but as we just said, no effects loop. And do you know what? I've completely forgotten how much these are. From memory, it'll probably appear on screen now, but it's more than these and less than these, I think. Everything at 12 in terms of the sagging, tone and gain, and I shall introduce some volume. Go. Okay, that would explain it. This is 50 watts.
What?
50
How was that 50 watts?
In the smallest one as well. So it's the smallest one with the biggest punch. 50 watts and about 180 quid. So I was right, it is dearer than these, but less than these. Wow, is that pedal off?
Absolutely, totally off, yeah. If you want, I could dial it into what I think.
I think I kind of want for that modern sound. I think I want no sagging or less sagging, but let's have a little listen.
That's really nice. It's really, really...
Have you got the pedal on?
I just turned it on at the end.
Crikey, it's loud. It's sort of got one of these gain controls that sort of kicks in at about 10, 11 o'clock.
Oh, right.
And then there's no more. It's just, that's it. It just goes from nothing to everything. So
I love it. It's really good.
I like it too. Here's a low gain setting on this one.
Okay.
Really loud, Rob.
Could you just give me loads of gain and a bit less volume?
Yeah, I mean, here's gain at 3 o'clock. I'll take the sagging. Definitely is sag is that sense that the power amp is being so, pounded that it sags and compresses in a way, and you lose that note definition. Some people say that's the kind of the Eddie Van Halen kind of vibe, and so people like it. I think in more modern playing, typically people are using tube screamers to kind of tighten that bass end. So that's why I've got the sagging turned down for that higher gain sound. But yeah, here we go.
passes.
All right, look, I don't even think there's any need to put the LTD in this one. I'm just, you know, looks and vibe and everything like that, totally get this. Volume, it's happening over here. Tone, completely subjective. You choose. What do you like the sound of?
Yeah. Rob, smash or pass? I smashed the orange. I smashed the little blue 50-watt bad boy at the end. I smashed the Friedman. I passed the Diezel.
There we go. What is that? Is that like a sort of an amplifier version of
Swipe
Marry? What is it called? Snog, Marry,
FMK.
Kill, or whatever it is. Oh yeah, Snog. See, that's what it was, the public school upbringing that I had there. We didn't say things like that.
No.
Anyway, thank you very much for watching. There's a long video, Rob.
Oh my God, my ass is painful right now.
Good luck to the editor. Were you sitting on this way the whole way through?
Yeah.
This is the Kraken. It's what the Kraken amps, what Revere named the Kraken after. It's actually a genuinely called Kraken potato masher. Nothing to do with victory as far as I'm aware.
Smash your mutts.
But if you want one, I believe you can just go and search Kraken potato masher and you'll find one. Anyway, au revoir.
Take it
See
easy.
you next time. Everybody throw plectrums
Bye.
at the people.
Oh. Sorry, Oz.